Well, hello and welcome to Indie Thursday, the show where we look at one indie game a week. I'm Robbie Quinn.
I'm Arie Oldman.
And this week we'll be looking at Xenoraptor, a small little game from a studio, or it might just be one person, called Xenoraptor Studios. He's Adelaide-based, so we always like to see good Australian developers. You know, I was trying to think of a game that this one would remind me of as a twin-stick kind of shoot-em-up, and I haven't played many like it.
Honestly, the only thing I can relate it to is Asteroids.
It does have a very arcadey kind of feel to it. It's definitely a genre that we don't see much of anymore, and I don't know if that's just because there's not much of a market for it, or if it's just because it's a forgotten genre by developers. But it definitely did feel different to a lot of what I've played recently, which was interesting in its own kind of right. In terms of gameplay, it has got pretty responsive controls, I think.
It does.
Arie, what do you think? You think it does?
I felt it had very responsive controls, and I could move my futuristic space dragon wherever I wanted it to go and dodge bullets that I wanted to. And really, the only thing that's going to bottleneck that is your reaction time.
Did you play on controller or keyboard and mouse?
Controller.
See, I started out on keyboard and mouse, and I found that was responsive, that was tight. But then when I switched to Xbox controller just to see what it was like, didn't have a great time. I found it was just very vague and floaty, and that didn't work for me. But I suppose if you found it more responsive, it's all a personal preference sort of thing. And they do offer you the choice, which is always a good thing.
But I feel like if you're using your arrow keys or your WASD keys, is that what you use?
Yeah, you use WASD and mouse to aim it.
Does that not limit your motion to 8 directions, though?
But you slide a bit, so you can
I guess that's enough, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can aim a lot more precisely. But even then, when I was playing with keyboard and mouse, I felt it didn't really feel like I was shooting anything. Obviously, I wasn't shooting anything, but it just felt like I was pointing a mouse in that direction and clicking, and sparkly stuff would shoot out.
I feel like Xenoraptor's taken some of those old top-down shooter arcade games and added another degree of motion to it. Because it feels a lot more... You get a lot more freedom when you can aim in every direction and move in every direction.
It does feel a lot like a throwback to older games, and that's nice. It does have an air of nostalgia to it, just because of that. Having said that, I don't know if the genre is one that appeals to me. I'm not going to say it won't appeal to anyone, but I'm not a big fan of twin-stick shooters, that is. It's the sort of game I'd probably play on my phone quite a lot, just because it is very accessible.
I'm not sure this would work on a phone, to be honest. I don't know.
You would have two sticks either side of the screen. I guess shooting is difficult.
If you're someone like me who has very grippy thumbs, that'd just be a pain.
Yeah, I could see how I'm not trying to say this is like a phone game anyway. I'm just trying to say that it does just feel a bit too arcadey for me. But for some people, that's going to be a feature, not a drawback, I suppose. What do you think of the graphics in this game, Arie?
Ooh, probably one of my lesser favoured points, or lesser favoured aspects of this game. I think the flying space dinosaur, dragon, futuristic, whatever it is, it looks pretty cool, and the fact you can customize it is really nice, and you can choose your colours, but the enemies, I get what they were going for, but some of them look like they were out of Jimmy Neutron, to be honest. Just the rendering on the models.
Now see, we've had this discussion before, and you really dislike the art, and I quite like it. I think it's got a neat aesthetic.
I not so much really dislike it anymore, it's just some of the rendering on the models just kind of throws me off.
Yeah, the texture work could be a bit better, but the lighting effects I think are very nice. The bullet effects are stunning.
They do work well.
The backgrounds I think look fantastic. I don't know about you, but the colours and the shading, it all looks very nice. At least in the early levels. I haven't had a chance to play much of the later ones. In fact, that kind of leads me on to one of my gripes with this game, is that it's very, very difficult. Which I know is a terrible thing to say about games.
Well, it is a bullet hell.
Difficulty is something people like, but this one really ramps up in difficulty after the first level. The first level is a breeze. Like, I don't even know if it's possible.
I was playing through the Earth level, and as soon as you told me there were 10 waves, I kind of just slumped back in my seat.
It does. The first level, at least, is boring in that it's too easy. And then every other level is frustrating in that it's too hard. That's what I found, at least. I find myself doing the same things over and over again and just falling into a pit of not being able to get better. I know this is kind of a common theme with me in games, but No, I do feel like the difficulty, whilst difficulty can be good, it needs to kind of scale a bit more evenly, I suppose. Just going back to the aesthetic
or even
of the
provide
game,
some kind of difficulty settings.
that would be nice.
Would be nice.
Just quickly going back to the aesthetic of the game, I don't really get what they were going for. You say you did, but I don't understand why I'm a giant space dragon and why I'm chasing space chainsaws or being
Well, it's
chased by
obvious.
space
You're-
chainsaws.
It's obviously a metaphysical reference to purgatory, and you are a metaphorical space dragon, which represents your soul, and how many times you've sinned in your previous life. Therefore,
I guess I just
that is
don't
the
have
reason
same...
why all these satanic freaking chainsaw demons are trying to destroy you, to punish you
and
for your
doing a very
sins.
poor job out of it at the first level.
You say that, but then you keep dying.
Only in
And that is your
second
punishment for all the sins you have committed. You must keep replaying
level.
the
Oh
level.
my goodness. Sorry, I've just been jumped by two bosses I haven't seen before, so that's nice. Which is a bit odd, because I was just about to mention that the kind of lack of enemy variety was a bit of a problem for me. But I don't know if that's just because I've only really seen the first two levels because of my ineptitude. But certainly all the enemies I've seen kind of seem like either rescaled versions or slightly tweaked versions of the other enemies.
I heard there were enemies with lasers.
Are there?
That's what I heard. But I mean, there are mega tanks, and they shoot rockets instead of bullets, which is...
Yeah, mega tanks are just
different.
upscaled versions of the smaller enemies that shoot rockets now. I would like to see a few different things that I could shoot and run at and run away from.
The enemies have a very kind of hive mentality.
Yeah, they just... Most of them will just swarm at you and try and crash into you, which makes sense because they're giant floating chainsaws.
And they don't really have any like regard for their fellow men either.
Yeah, they kill each other a lot. Like, there's a lot of team killing by
I'm
the
pretty sure
enemies.
that's like a deliberate mechanic in the game, like being able to make enemies crash into each other or shoot each other, because all bullets affect everyone.
I don't know so much about that being a deliberate mechanic, but I'd say the developer did it by accident and saw it and thought, this is neat. And it is neat. You feel good when you make an enemy kill another enemy.
It is cool.
You've outwitted them. Okay, Arie, I think this is going to be a bit of a divisive issue. What do you think about the music in this game? And the sound design in a grander scale?
Music, I think, goes really well with the satanic overtones. I mean, that's the music you'd expect when there are chainsaw demons throwing themselves at you. I mean, I don't ever listen to metal music, but I don't know, so I wouldn't know how to describe it.
It's kind of a combination of metal and chiptune, and it's a bit unusual. I mean, there are some times where it gives you that whole, yeah, bullets everywhere, chainsaws, guns, yeah. But then it just felt a bit too samey and predictable. I mean, you just said that it's the kind of music you would expect when you were fighting these demons and stuff. That's very much what I felt too, and I didn't like it. I would have liked...
Well, as opposed to the music that you wouldn't expect.
Not so much that, just... It feels kind of like stock music that's like called heavy metal space battle. And I mean, it's well made, and there's a fair few different songs, so I've not got major gripes with it, but just...
Have you heard the Hotline Miami music?
That is the best soundtrack to any game I've ever played.
But the thing is, you wouldn't expect it to be in a top-down shooter game,
well,
but
in
it
that
works
kind of
really
game, though.
well.
It's a kind of drug-fueled murder spree, that game, so you would expect kind of psychedelic trance music-ish sort of stuff.
I didn't think he was so much drug for it. I think he was just haunted.
Oh, it's definitely a druggy overtone to it. Anyway, this isn't about Hotline Miami, alright? Though we should do a review on that game, I reckon. Yeah, I don't mind the music, I suppose, but then I do have gripes with the sound effects. They're very monotonous and very repetitive. I don't know.
Well, you're shooting millions of projectiles within minutes, so I'm guessing.
I guess any other kind of sound
the
would
same
be...
sound a million times.
But the sounds to me get very annoying, almost like a mosquito or something's flying around me.
I
turned off the sound effects.
When the chainsaw demons, they fly near you, it's like... and you hear them.
Yeah, you can say that the dev's done it deliberately, but if he has, then I think it's a poor choice, because it's not making me have fun, it's making me annoyed. And that's just my opinion. It might not be...
It makes the enemies more dislikable and easier to kill.
Except they're not easy to kill, because they're incredibly difficult to kill.
Easier to not be morally disturbed by killing them.
But then, also, I felt like I never really had a reason to kill anything. Like, they're trying to kill me. Yeah, but then if I just leave the game, they're no longer trying to kill me. There's no grand objective that keeps me...
That is true.
Keeps me trying to play. It's just... I suppose you could say you're trying to get a bigger score.
I mean, there are so many campaign games nowadays where they give you a motivation to play the game.
This one, it says it's got a campaign, but more it's just a level select. You select different
like
levels that look different.
A level progression.
Yeah, and they do get harder, so I guess there is some kind of progression, but it doesn't really keep me gripped on the game for very long. And I don't know if that's so much a problem with this game or the genre as a whole. It's not really a genre that appeals to me.
I agree with that.
So do we want to kind of wrap this up and start giving our scores, Arie?
I think it's a good time to start doing that.
Who went first last week? Was it
you went
me
first
or was it
last
you?
week?
Then you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm going to give it a pro for the controls and the gameplay and the fact there are lots of bullets everywhere. I think that's very exciting. Quite a few good mechanics in there. I can't say I agreed with the graphical choice, but I did enjoy the music. So I think I'll give it a 3.5.
I think this game, in terms of how it's been made, faultless. It's been very well made. The controls are decent. And just from a technical standpoint, it does everything it wants to do. I've seen no massive bugs or no gaping areas in gameplay. So there's nothing wrong with how he's done what he set out to do. I do enjoy the game, and I like the art. I know you don't, but I think it's pretty clear to me that he's put a lot of care into it, and the colours are cool, and the enemies do look cool, the few enemies that there are. To add to that, there is a whole ship upgrade customization thing that I guess adds a bit more content, and allows you to change up your playstyle. I do like this game, but there are problems, so I'm gonna give it a 3. Right, well that pretty much finishes us off, I guess. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this edition of Indie Thursday, there'll be one every week for all eternity, until the sun burns out. So,
or until we get invaded by demonic chainsaw demons.
Oh god, have we built a space dragon yet with which to combat them? Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Link to this game is in the comments. It does cost $10, which I don't know, I felt was a bit hefty for what it is, but the developer has a right to charge for his game, so
that's reasonable.
Not gonna criticize him on that. If you have enjoyed this review, please do like, comment, and or subscribe, because it means a lot to us.
If you didn't like it, tell us what was wrong.
Yeah, definitely do that. Don't just hurt our feelings. Anyway, please do check out this game. Link is in the description, and possibly on the screen now. Arie, make sure you do that.
Okay, no, it's right here.
Oh, good stuff, Arie.
Yep, I've got it.
Can you also put a picture of a llama on the screen now?
Hang on. Okay, here we
Thanks, I haven't seen a llama in a while. They are cool looking animals.
Alright. Okay, I'm taking the llama away now. You've had enough.
Well, just bloody roll the outro then.